Yo, what up, what up, what up, what up? Yes, sir. Reporting live from Otto Hindenburg Park, whoever that is. Otto Hindenburg or Heidenberg, whatever his name is. But we don't call it that here. We call it Cab Calloway Park. Why? Because Cab Calloway was born right on this street right here. Right where that black truck is, but across the street. So about, see that black truck? So about right over here where the trees are. Those two trees, 1, 2, that's where Cab Calloway house was. It was facing towards Sumter Street or Sumter Place, whatever it is. And this is Avon Place, whatever. But today is 9/11, 2021. And what I want to talk about is the 20th anniversary of September 11th, 2001, when the World Trade Centers got hit. I remember exactly where I was and what I was doing. I was 3 months shy of my 21st birthday. And what happened was I was fresh out of Job Corps. I got out of Job Corps in 2001, and I had worked a bunch of odd jobs. I worked at Seabreeze. I worked for Labor Ready. They bounced me around here and there, but then I eventually landed a job at Rochester General Hospital in the summer of 2001, and I worked there for about 6 months. I worked there from I think May to November, I believe, maybe 5 months, 5 or 6 months. And I was working there, obviously, throughout the month of September of 2001. I was working second shift. I was a dietary clinician or a dietary aide or whatever it was, something like that. I was working in the kitchen, basically. They had all these fancy names for our positions back then, but I dealt with the food. I worked in food service. We delivered the plates and the all the good stuff to eat, and then we washed the dishes. They had a big ass dish room back there. We had to wash everything. But anyway, on this particular day, on September 10th, 2001, I remember I was listening to Jay-Z's Blueprint album. Now, the Blueprint was supposed to come out September 11th. Well, it did come out September 11th. So what happened was I had got a bootleg copy from a friend of mine that worked in the mall, Midtown Mall, downtown. It's demolished now. But he told me I already got a copy of it. I was like, how you get a copy of it? He never told me. To this day, I don't know how, because, internet wasn't a big deal back then. Everybody didn't have internet yet. I don't know how. I don't know where he got this CD from, but he got me a copy of it. And it was clear as crystal. The sound was crystal clear. And I was listening to that all night. And I was amazed by it. But eventually it did officially release 9/11, and Jay-Z he mentioned that later on in a freestyle he had. He said, "Yeah, my joint dropped the same day as the Twin Towers." That's one of his unforgettable lines. But I listened to that all night the night before, and I remember when I went to sleep, I turned on the radio. I used to listen to the Quiet Storm. They played all R&B, slow songs at night on 104 WDKX. So I went to sleep listening to the Quiet Storm, and I woke up. I remember right before I woke up, I was dreaming. This is no lie. I was dreaming that a plane hit the World Trade Center. See, because what had happened was the DJs on the radio station that I was listening to, they were talking about it. They got word from New York City that a plane had hit the World Trade Center. It was about 8:30 in the morning. So I'm dreaming about what they were talking about. And I remember waking up like saying, man, that was a weird dream. You know, I dreamed that a plane hit the World Trade Center. So I'm not even thinking about it. I turned the radio off. You know, like I said, it was about 8:30. I went downstairs. Everybody was gone to school and gone to work. I was the only person that worked second shift. My brother and sister was in school. I remember it was on a Tuesday. My mother and my stepfather was at work. I was home by myself because I didn't have to be to work until 3 o'clock. You know, so I would leave the house about 2 and walk to work. But I had the mornings to myself. And so I go downstairs, turn on the TV. Boom, it was on channel 8. And as soon as I turned on the TV, they were yelling and screaming about the World Trade Center. I was like, what the hell is going on? You know, the cameraman was yelling and screaming. He was saying, yeah, a plane just hit the South Tower or the North Tower. I forgot which one was first. He said, yeah, a plane just hit the South Tower. Everybody was confused. They didn't know how it happened, why it happened, what caused it. They didn't know anything. So I didn't know anything either. I'm like, man, it must have been a pilot error or something. I'm like, you know, that was unheard of for a plane to just hit a building like that, you know, in New York City. I had never heard anything. And then I'm thinking, well, damn, the World Trade Center is tall enough for something like that to happen. But I just didn't understand, like, I didn't get why it happened, you know, or how a pilot get that low and do something. So I just wrote it up as a pilot error, you know. So I'm just sitting there watching, and everybody was panicking. And I remember I turned it to channel 10, same thing. Turned it to channel 13, same thing. CNN, same thing. It was on every freaking channel. And I'm like, oh man, this is serious. I'm like, this is serious. It's on every freaking channel. But I turned back to channel 8. And the cameraman on channel 8, he had a good view. Like it looked like he was right up under the World Trade Center while it was smoking, you know, and you could see people hanging out of the window, you know, screaming, help, 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 we can't breathe. You know, you could hear them. They were far away, but you know, the cameraman was so advanced, he was able to zoom right in on them, and you could hear them, and you could read their lips, and you could hear the distress in their voice. And I was like, man, so I just left it there and I watched it for like 30 minutes straight. And I remember this male and female, I don't know if they were a couple or what. Maybe they were co-workers, who knows. But they were hanging out the window together. And all of a sudden, they interlocked hands. They started holding hands and they both just jumped out the window. I was like, oh shit. And then right after they did that, another plane hit the other World Trade Center. Boom. I was like, oh shit. And then that's when everybody got in panic mode. The cameraman just took off running. All you saw was the camera going all over the place, you know. And we lost the signal. So I turned it back to channel 10. I turned it to channel 10. And channel 10, same thing. The cameraman was running. So I'm flipping from channel to channel. And every channel, the cameraman was running. Every channel had different cameramans, different camera crews. They were just hauling ass, excuse me for my language. And I'm like, yo, I got scared. I'm like, man, should I go to work today or should I call in? Because I thought we were at war. You know, I was thinking we was at war. I thought it was World War III. You know, I'm 20 years old, almost 21. You know, I had never seen anything like this before. And so, my phone rings, and it was my homeboy Mark Wilson. And I said, yo, Mark, man, you see this shit? He was like, yeah. He was like, yo, we at war, man. He was like, man, I bet you a lot of rappers is gonna be rapping about this. And I was like, yo, today is very peculiar. I said, did you see them people jumping out the window? He was like, yeah. He was like, you damn right, it's a peculiar day. He was like, and he was like, today is my birthday. I forgot all about it. September 11th was his birthday. You know, I didn't even wish him a happy birthday because, you know, I totally forgot all about it because this World Trade Center attack, you know, was on my mind. You know, I would usually wish him a happy birthday every year. He would wish me a happy birthday. My birthday is December 4th. So, you know, he was like, yeah, man. He was like, all my birthday plans are canceled because a lot of stuff was closing down. You know, it was just it was crazy. And then, you know, about 20 minutes into our conversation, he was talking to me, and then one of the trade centers just collapsed. And I was like, oh, shoot. I was like, man, this is scary. It was a nightmare. People was running. It looked like, I remember watching it. I remember watching the building collapse live on TV, and people started running. There was a cloud of dust and smoke all over the place, all up and down the streets of New York City. People was running from that dust. Some people was falling while they were running. Cameramen were falling. And I remember saying to myself, man, this looked like something out of a movie, out of a sci-fi movie. I just couldn't believe it. And I remember thinking to myself, we're at war. This is going to be World War III. So I watched for another 30 minutes, and then the other tower fell. I was like, oh man. I mean, I sat up there and watched it all the way to about noon. And then I just couldn't take it anymore. You know, I called my mother, and, you know, she said, yeah, everybody at her job was watching it. And I called a few other of my friends, and a lot of them were at work. I was the only one that worked second shift. I've been working second shift for 20 years. That's my favorite shift. So, you know, I called a couple of my friends, and, you know, they were at work. My friend Rashad said he was working, and he said everybody had a TV. They had a TV in the lobby, and everybody was in the lobby. His whole company was in the lobby watching that World Trade Center crap on TV, man. Rest in peace to the family members that lost somebody. I think they said it was like 3,000 people or more. It was sad, man. I'll never forget it. Something I will never forget. And maybe like 8 or 9 years before that, somebody tried to blow up the World Trade Center. I think 92 or 93. I remember that. And I remember this one lady on the news. She said, I'm never going back in that building again. You know? But later on that evening, when I was at work, a couple people told me that it was a terrorist attack. I was like, oh shoot. They said it was some Pakistanians or some Arabs or you know, some Middle Easterns that was involved and responsible. And in Rochester, just about all the corner stores were owned and operated by Middle Easterns, Arabs. And I remember people saying, oh, we shouldn't go in their store, we shouldn't support them. They were responsible. I remember the corner store that was down the street from my house, there was about like 50 people out in front of that store talking about, oh, y'all responsible. They was talking to the Arabs. They was like, oh, y'all responsible for this terrorist attack. And I'm like, man, these dudes been here for years. I was like, they ain't got no connection to these suicide terrorists or not. And then this one girl said, oh, how you know? I was like, man, they're in Rochester. This ain't New York City. I'm like, whatever. I said, I doubt it. You know, you can't blame something like this on every Arab you see. You know what I mean? That's just like if a black person in California do something, you can't blame something horrific like that on all black people. That's what I was trying to say, but nobody wasn't feeling me. And then years later, it turns out, not even years later, months later, it turns out I was right, because those same Arab people that own that store are still here to this day. Nobody did nothing but complain or accuse them for accusations that they had no proof of. You know what I mean? It was crazy. But yeah, that's what I remember about 9/11. And we got some people with some dogs. And I know ever since 9/11, security has been tight at airports, bus stations, train stations. Because before 9/11, you could just walk. You could just you could just, get on the airplane. Like, they didn't do all these, bag checks. Like, I mean, they would check your bag, but after 9/11, they got real with it. I mean, now they doing X-ray scanning and all that type of stuff. I remember before 9/11, you just would have to get your bag checked, But I guess because those terrorists, they hijacked the plane with box cutters or small knives or something like that. So that's how they were able to get the pilot to crash into the World Trade Centers, or that's how they was able to commit such a terrorist act. They had box cutters. That's what I heard. I don't know. But then I heard some conspiracy theories from the people I work with. This one German guy, he told me, he said, he know for a fact that the government was flying those planes by remote control. And then I heard that, I heard it was the ISIS or the Taliban that did. So I heard a bunch of stuff. But the one that stood out to me was the government flying those airplanes by remote control. Who knows? I don't know. Nobody knows the truth. But then they say they got communication from the black box. But who knows? That could be manipulated and altered. Anybody can, make up something like that and say, oh, this was from the black box. But I don't know. Hey, but shout out to shout out to the families that lost somebody in 9/11. That was something serious, something I'll never forget. And Bush was in office at the time, Bush Jr. And I felt like he knew it was going to happen. He was in Florida at the time at an elementary school the morning of 9/11, and a lot of people that was there said he didn't react fast enough. He didn't take it serious right then and there. But I don't know. That's a whole nother story. But like I said, shout out to my people in New York City. I should be going down there in a couple of weeks to pay homage to the victims. They got like a memorial down there. I couldn't do it this weekend. So hopefully in a couple of weeks I'll be able to get down there. Because of COVID-19, everything's been screwed up. All right, holla at your boy. Peace.